So, good morning, everybody. My name is Daniele Ferdani. I am an archaeologist, and I have been working as researcher at the National Research Council, Institute of Heritage Science, since 2009. I am the Italian responsible of this bilateral project, and today I'm going to present the reasons and the goals of this project. So the research project is entitled Technology Enhanced Strategies for Heritage Study and Valorization. And it is oriented toward the studies, analysis, and enhancement of Georgian cultural heritage. And it is particularly oriented to the archaeological context of Vani. And of course, the use of digital technologies for digitization and valorization of some significant monuments and artifacts of these important heritage sites. So why digital heritage is so important? Over the last 2 decades, there has been a growing development of digital technologies and their integration in the humanities. And this continuous experimentation and contamination between these two fields has led to new horizons of research, and they opened up to innovative perspective of research. And more, in October 2021, the European Commission has published a recommendation on a common European data space for cultural heritage. And the aim is to accelerate the digitization of cultural heritage assets. So the Commission recommended to improve the digitization of cultural heritage, monuments and sites, objects and artifacts for future generations to protect, preserve, and of course, communicate heritage. And this is particularly important for cultural heritage in danger. The destruction of cultural heritage for natural or human-related causes has led to an unprecedented need for digital preservation and rehabilitation of lost heritage through project of virtual restoration. So for example, this is the case of the recent case of Palmyra, or for example, Notre Dame. UNESCO has promoted plans to facilitate the restoration of this important site. And sometimes physical restoration is not always possible. And only thanks to 3D technology, 3D modeling, it was possible to digitally rebuild, digitally restore the major monuments in their former beauty in order to communicate to public. More, given the high reusability of digitized cultural heritage assets, they can be also used for innovative experience and sustainable tourism. So here you have an example of a physical museum installation created to reach persons with physical and visual disabilities by offering accessible tactile experience. So here you have digital replica of a tomb, an Etruscan tomb in the Archaeological Site Observatory. And it was developed within another project, which is called eArcheo. It is about the valorization of different Italian archaeological sites. My colleague Eva Pietroni will discuss more about this case study. It is just to give you an example of possible use of digitized heritage. And so in addition to serving preservation and restoration purposes, 3D technologies increase opportunity for cultural heritage institutions to reach wider audience with more immersive experience that include access to places which are normally inaccessible. Imagine, I don't know, underwater archaeological site, for example, or closed archaeological sites. This kind of digital model allow innovative forms of artistic creation, opening new ways of digitally engaging and enjoy cultural contents. Gamification, virtual reality installation, mobile application, augmented reality are just some of the more recent successful experience in this domain. So here you have two case studies, for example. The first one is the one I already mentioned, eArcheo project, and the second one is a night in the forum, environmental educational narrative game created within an European project on about gamification. And it is a game, cultural game for PlayStation VR. So both case study was developed by public institution together with private companies, university, and archaeological sites in order to convey, in order to deliver to public cultural content in a new and artistic, innovative way. So there we are. And given these premises, within this framework of digital heritage, we set up our project. In accordance with the Georgian partners and under the coordination of the Dr. Pascal Aske, we selected some monuments and artifacts to be digitized from the Vani archaeological site. This archaeological site is located in the western Georgia, and here you have a plan of the area with some archaeological monuments highlighted in black. So the purpose of the survey is to produce digital copy, or let's say digital replicas of these monuments, on which to elaborate interactive semantic 3D models of some selected artifacts and monuments from, of course, the archaeological site of Vani. And then these 3D models surveyed will be implemented for scientific dissemination within an online virtual museum. This virtual museum will be a digital application that will provide interactive exploration of cultural object using Web 3D technologies. And here you can see an example of a Web 3D application that allow user to interact with digital object and gather information. And this example is part of a digital application that I already presented you. Some technology and methodology developed in our laboratory, my colleague, are used and implemented in our project. So project by project, we increase and implement new feature in the application. And we are going to use this kind of technology also in the archaeological site of Vani. As I previously said, the site selected for the project is Vani, and together with the Georgian partner, we decided to focus on two important monuments. The architecture of the so-called mosaic floor temple and the grave 11. The temple belonged to the last period of life of the city. And in this period, the hill was fortified with defensive wall, and the structure mainly related to cult activities were built in this period. And findings suggest that the Vani of this period was a city of temples. So some stunning artifacts were found during the excavation. So here you have an example. This bronze lamp were discovered during excavation in 2007. And according to the archaeologists, this lamp were probably part of a hoard of precious bronzes deposited during a time of crisis. And these are some of the objects we are going to survey in the next campaign. And the other important monument is the grave 11. Here in this tomb, impressive golden objects were found. Here you have an overview of some golden object. This object belonged to the second period of Vani, between the 6th and the 4th century BC, if I remember well. And in this period, Vani is an important administrative center of the Colchis kingdom. And rich burials like this one were found. And the most remarkable feature of this period is the rich variety of golden objects, like diadems, necklaces, bracelets, finger rings, and so on. This object will be digitized using computer graphic and image-based modeling techniques in order to show how these objects were worn by the defunct in that period, in order to simulate how these objects were worn. So the program that I have described before underwent rescheduling due to the emergency health situation related to the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we have to postpone till this year our venue in Georgia. Actually, the survey activity was scheduled in 2021, but we have to postpone them. So we are in the next few weeks, in the 6th of July, we will go to Georgia to perform these scanning activities. So then up to now, we have focused on the design of the digital installation, and we have improved and implanted new function in this platform called Aton. Aton is the framework that we have that we are currently used for creating Web 3D application interacting with cultural heritage object and large 3D scene on the web. Here in this link lists some national and international projects employing the Aton framework. My colleague Bruno is the developer of this framework and used this framework for many projects. So here you have a roadmap that what we have done up to now. So my colleague, Eva Pietroni, will discuss about landscape representation and narration. My colleague Bruno Fanini will discuss about Web 3D implementation using Aton. My colleague Emanuele Demetrescu will discuss about virtual reconstruction. And my colleague Alfonsina Pagano, the design of the Virtual Museum of Vani. About the digitization of cultural assets. So here you have an overview of the incoming activities. For what concerned the digitization, we planned a survey activity that will be carried out in July 2022, in the next few weeks, between the 16th and the 13th of July. We're going to perform different activities indoor and outdoor. The indoor activities are focused on the digitization of museum artifacts using photogrammetric techniques like the one you are seeing in this video. So this image-based modeling process allows to scan the object and convert the real artifact into a digital replica. So the photogrammetric approach will be supported by computer graphic procedures in order to optimize geometry and color of the 3D model, and when possible, to perform virtual restoration of digital artifact, restoring, for example, missing elements or original material, or recovering, for example, original shape and beauty of these artifacts. This is the case, for example, of some bronze lamp. Thanks to digital process, it will be possible to restore the missing hanging elements that are lost and the original bronze surface material. And this will allow the user to better understand how this object looked like in the past and how they were used inside the temple. For what concerns the outdoor activities, they will be carried out in the archaeological site of Vani. The archaeological landscape will be acquired, will be surveyed using a manned aerial system, better known as drone system, while the architecture of the temple, here you have a picture, that we are going to survey will be performed with both laser scanning and photogrammetry. Our last goal, if possible, is to reconstruct also the original shape of this building. If sufficient information will be found, a realistic or a schematic reconstruction of the temple will be provided to better illustrate the original shape, the elevation, the dimension of these archaeological sites. Because it's not easy for a visitor to understand how this kind of building looked like in the past. So and also use digital technology to integrate the original object, the artifacts in their original context. So this is just a quick overview. My colleague will discuss in detail the other aspect. So thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any question, I'm here. Thank you.